Say it quietly because I think Joel's in the library.
I'll put my hands up now and go, yeah, you boys are right.
Have we got a standout candidate for the Gold Cup?
I think you could back him now, to be honest.
Rebecca Curtis's lips.
I think he's an absolute weapon.
5-1 for the Oracle, 7-1 for the Brown Advisory.
At some point, you've got to go, this ain't a fluke.
Wow. I have no idea where we start over what we've seen over the festive period. It has been an incredible few days of racing action. But say it quietly because I think Joel's in the library.
Shh. Bogies!
Oh, dear, you're looking very intellectual for a change.
Well, yeah, you know, when you come back to Scarborough, I was just talking to Frankie before you arrived, and I'm in Scarborough, and I'm going on the Scarborough Seawall Heritage Trail later on.
Walk off some Christmas mince pies.
Yeah.
Chins around there, aren't you?
Yeah. Good Christmas. Good Christmas. You know what I mean?
It was a fantastic Christmas, certainly for racing fans. I mean, wow. Honestly, I really don't know where we are going to start. Well, there is only one place we can start, really, and that was probably, all right, they're saying it might be the last King George at Kempton. We're not sure. But if it is, what a way to bow out. That was a race. I said it was a race for the age. I didn't think it was going to be that good, though. 4 in a line over the last, half a length separating the first 4. Jukebox man sticking his head down on the line. When it comes to the Cheltenham Gold Cup, boys, which one do you take out of the race for it?
Oh, I don't know. I've watched it back a number of times. It was a proper race, wasn't it? And it was some atmosphere on track as well. It was class as they all jumped the last together on track. Everybody, and I guess the way the race was before the race as well, everyone cheering for different horses and everyone with a chance. So it was a lot of fun at Kempton. I don't know if it's because of I backed him and I'm slightly biased because I was willing him to win the King George. But my thoughts are that they didn't actually go that hard. Harry Cobden had the luxury of setting the pace and didn't set the pace that strongly on Ile Francais. And he turned it into a bit of a sprint, which suited the winner, Jukebox Man, certainly. But I don't think suited Gaelic Warrior, who wants more of a test. Django Bay came from off the pace like he does, potentially wanted more of a test. I'd probably be looking at those 2 horses out of the finishing 4. Because I don't think it was really that strongly ran.
What are your thoughts, Joel?
Yeah, I'm not sure what Harry Cobden was doing. I mean, fair play. The horse, Monse's got issues, hasn't it? Slowed it down, kept it really slow. Didn't suit him. I think the horse is gone now. You know, I'll put my hands up now and go, yeah, you boys are right. You know, when we saw him in the Corso Star a few years ago, it was a case of, yeah, it's the next big thing. That would have won the King George that year. I think the 2 out the race for me, Django Bay as well. I think the ground was maybe a little sticky for him, maybe. Like a bit softer. And Nico had him 4 wide. And there was no pace to run at. So that would be the one. Obviously, because your pocket talk, I was cursing Paul Townend for dropping his whip and catching it again, which I didn't notice. And I was watching it on ITV, and fair play to Ruby Walsh. I mean, that's why he's the best in the business, both as a jockey and as an analyst. I didn't see that. I thought he was like looking for something in his back pocket because he was like this. If he'd have had one more, would he have won? I don't know. I thought Sean Bone was brilliant as well, but it was the ITV story they wanted. Jukebox Man, you sent us an abusive text because you didn't back him because of myself and Frankie, Jukebox Man, but it was great for ITV. So, but Django Bay is the one I would 100% take out the race. Slightly softer conditions, better pace to travel at, and maybe not 4 wide, please, Nico.
And then, in terms of the Gold Cup trial, then was the Savills Chase a better one? I mean, there's plenty of money for the winner, Affordale Fury, even though it muddied the waters somewhat. Have we got a standout candidate for the Gold Cup in the staying division, or even for a wide open renewal this year?
Wide open, I reckon, isn't it? It is wide open. Can't take it away from the winner. It was a good performance, and all the right horses were in there. Iron Maximus ran a blinder. Galloping the Champs finishing 3rd, set somewhat of a standard to give the winner the credit he deserves, I think. Grange Clare West has been placed in that before, so equally, again, sort of solidifies Affordale for Fury's performance. Galloping the Champs, I thought, did run a massive race, considering it was his first race back and considering it was definitely quicker ground than he wants. Again, he was the sort of horse in focus for me as I was watching the race unfold. And I was sort of changing my mind as the race was going on as to whether he was happy or not. There were periods when he looked like he was travelling really well, and periods when he didn't look quite as comfortable as he has in the past. And I think that's ground. I think he really needs softer ground than what he's got, because it reminded me of when he was going through the Gold Cup, when he was beaten last year on what was better ground than he'd like. And he just doesn't look quite as comfortable. You can't quite put your finger on it, but there's something about the way that he travels that's not the same as when ground's soft. So I think he ran a massive race considering he didn't have conditions that he likes. And if it's soft ground, he's certainly one to take out the race for the Gold Cup. But you're right, Matt, it's completely wide open. Affordel Fury is really interesting now, isn't he? He's still a big price considering he's beaten a really strong field. I don't quite know where to go. I know the way you're thinking is even more confusing than any horse. I've seen comments of
Market told that story. He was a big drifter throughout the day, wasn't he?
I know, but is that because you're trying to figure out what and why? Do they just have the opinion that the Gold Cup takes a lot out of a horse, so let's give him a really easy time to give him his best chance? I suppose so, but it's funny to campaign a horse that good that could pick up multiple grade ones with only one race in mind. It doesn't really make much sense to me, but I guess that is what they're doing with him, is just trying to give him the best chance, because horses do struggle to do back-to-back Gold Cups, but it doesn't make for great viewing, does it? It's great. I think it's made the Gold Cup really exciting, because at the start of this year was he a 2-1 favourite? I know the way you're thinking, and then a lot of horses in behind that nobody thought they could really challenge him. So suddenly we've got a proper race on our hands, and a lot of it is going to come down to how the race is ran, what the ground is on the day, how horses arrive when they get there. So it could be a real thriller.
Joel, what was your take on the Savills?
I wouldn't have been the biggest Galopin de Champs fan ever, and I started that as a wind-up to Frankie, but then, the comments were like, you don't know what you're talking about. I was really impressed. I think he could make history at the Gold Cup this year. That was the one. We don't know how fit the horse was. Made a few little mistakes, but, wouldn't be massively tested this time of year. The winner... it was what, 33s or something like that. Put up by price wise. I blinked at the market, because when we did the Punters guide, I said I wanted to be away from the top two, but the eventual top two were Galopin de Champs and the winner was it Affordel, whatever it was. Was that the horse that was second in the Albert Barlow? One.
He's been second to Envoy Allen, who's arriving fresh. There's murmurs of Envoy Allen coming back and winning a Gold Cup.
Yeah, no. So it was
completely out of the question, is it?
Yeah, going back to, I know the way you're thinking. Like you say, the market said everything. But has anybody told JP that it's not a handicap? I mean, this was proper old school Irish handicapping, wasn't it? I mean, some of this was worse than the John Durkan.
2027.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there was not a lot for me to take out the race apart from Galopin de Champs. I was really, really impressed, and obviously the winner.
Do you know what go on, just before we move on from Galopin de Champs, what will be a tricky... Well, I don't think it'll be a decision, but Paul Townhead could find himself in a frustrating spot if he was beaten in the King George on board Gaelic Warrior. I presume he'll ride Galopin de Champs in the Gold Cup, because he always has, and Patrick has partnered Gaelic Warrior a couple of times, and I don't think there's much between them these days. So that'll be an interesting one for the Mullins Yard, certainly.
Well, the good thing is, it's your second favourite horse after, the one at Can't Jump, and mine of Gaelic Warrior. So that'll be a right set to, won't it?
Former Gold Cup, an extended 3 1/4. Is that going to suit Gaelic Warrior?
There's something about him. I feel like he can. So I don't know, just the way that he does have a bit of a battle in him, and he can travel into a race extremely strongly.
One that will stay, Haiti Calor. I mean, we were talking about it was an outside chance before the Haydock race when he completely and utterly blew up. But we showed his true mettle in the Welsh Grand National, Joel. Is he still just a top-class handicapper carrying weights in these big handicaps, or can he take the step up in a wide-open year?
I really hope he would for the jock and the trainer. I just think he's a top-class handicapper, lumping tons of weight round, and it was a great ride by Sean Bowen. And again, another one from the weekend. O'Connell was second. We put him up as best bet a few weeks ago after that run at Carlisle, near the step up and trip again, and he was coming, and Danny McMenamin was on, and he's coming, and Bowen's not stopping. but the second horse I think is a better horse. In my opinion. And did you see what was trending on Twitter X after that race?
No.
Rebecca Curtis's lips.
We'll leave that there. Frankie, what was your take?
You can't say the second horse is better than the first. He's about 20
Why?
Still couldn't beat him. But anyway, I think they should probably take their chance in a year that's been blown wide open. I think if you owned him, you'd probably go, why not? Let's give it a crack. Do I think he can win? Unlikely. But I don't think you should take his pulled up in the Betfair as a reason not to back him in a graded race, because which has pretty much been proven. Becky said that they just sort of got the race planning wrong and the timing's wrong. So he wasn't ever really going a yard in that, whereas freshened up, he's come back and won the Welsh National like she said he would. So fair play to her for getting him back fit and well and keeping the faith in his ability. And now knowing that going forwards training-wise, probably could freshen him up nicely for a Gold Cup. So if I owned him, I'd have a crack. I would have a crack. I'm not saying you would, wouldn't you? He's been great around. He's won at the festival before. He's a proper stayer. He'll have Sean Bowen on board, I presume, because nothing else in the race that he's set to ride. So you throw your hat in the ring, yeah.
Well, Ben Jones has been riding him as well, hasn't he? Although I guess he may be on the jukebox man. What about, that's the Gold Cup chap then. What about the staying hurdle? Tiapo, does he just prove that he's the main man? Can Ballyburn turn the form around at Cheltenham? And as we spoke before Christmas, do we still believe the Irish staying hurdle form is stronger than the British, Joel?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. Thinking about it, actually. I know the way you're thinking. No, Tiapo was excellent at the weekend. I mean, the price is between the two now. What's Tiapo, about 2s, and Ballyburn's what, 12s, 14s? Does that sort of hook you in a little bit? A lot of ground to make up. Say again?
No way. I don't even think he stays Ballyburn. He's never won over 3 miles. It's 2.5 miler.
Okay. And what about the 2 JP horses?
I think Tiapu's rock solid now.
Yeah, I do.
I think you could back him now, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we talked about the 2 JP horses. Is it Empresa and Honesty Policy, isn't it? Is it Honesty Policy? And we said that Honesty Policy would be the better horse in time. Was not fresh. I was not fit. And had the run going into that last race where Empresa had. So at this moment, you're looking at Tiapo being, one of those stronger bets. It's still an all right price for a festival.
9-4 Tiapo. Frankie says, get on now.
I'm glad we spoke about Gordon Elliott on our preview, because what a Christmas period he's had. He cannot stop winning.
No. Well, tell you what, keep that up your sleeve for 5 minutes time. Before we get there, though, any excuses for Madgeburg? Champion Chase chat. Any excuses for Madgeburg? What a performance by Marine National, having nearly lost Sean Flanagan that fence away from the stands. And what about the reaction over here? Thistle Ass continues to climb the ranks. I mean, what do you make of him, Frankie?
I watched Marine National Madgeburg Solness pretty much on the rail at Leopardstown, and only watching it back this morning did I realise that Madgeburg was actually quite unlucky. Watching it, I thought that watching it live, I didn't quite see how much he was short of room, and thought that he just actually failed to find. But watching back this morning, I've sort of talked myself into still fancying him. He is a funny one, isn't he? He's going to throw in a few bad jumps. He can sort of be scrubbed along a bit. He seems a bit of a head case in a way, but there's a lot of raw ability there. And watching it back this morning, I felt that if he did have the space to go through the horses, he had every chance to. You see, look, you're wincing. You think maybe he couldn't have gone through. I think
if he was good enough and he was quick enough, he would have gone through the gap. It closed because he wasn't quite quick enough to get through.
Yeah,
That was. I mean, I love the horse. I think he's got a great engine, but again, it's just jumping. He bunny hopped a few and did that. He had a fitness edge on Marine National. We're getting the winner
from Marine National, wasn't it?
We're overlooking the winner again, aren't we?
Yeah, but slightly quicker ground, front running ride. That track, he's done it a couple of times before. This time of year, he's sort of one of those that after the race is ran, you go, why the hell didn't I back him for this race? Can he win at Cheltenham? Of course he can. I don't think he will. Marine National looks the most likely winner of the Champion Chase based off of what we've seen over Christmas, because of what happened to him over was it first or second, nearly came out the side door, and then has managed to put in a huge performance to finish just second in what was a proper battle at a time of year that doesn't necessarily suit him. And he can go back to Cheltenham, a track that he's won at before. So he looks the most likely winner. But I'm telling you, watching it back this morning, there's still something in me that likes Madgeborough.
Joel, what did you make of it?
I compare Solness to Golden Ace, where you've got fluked it a couple of times in the front, and at some point you've got to go, this ain't a fluke. And that was good. I'm really sad because I thought Madgeborough was the next coming. I just don't think the horses. We know everybody will say on every podcast, every debate, oh, it's got an engine, but you've got to jump. You've got to be able to jump, and I just don't think when the pincer movement happened like this, a good horse would have got through. And even if your jock is taking, getting 3 days or whatever it is for a big careless ride, then you'd smash through, wouldn't you? And I just don't think the horse was good enough. So that was put me off, and I'm really disappointed because I really like Madgeborough. But yeah, sad.
Just a very quick word on Thistleask as well, who's climbing the rankings very quick. I couldn't have him on my mind at the weekend. Up a stone. I thought he would go his own way on the front end. The race kind of fell apart for him.
Yeah.
Couple fell. Ryan's Rocket fell. Sans Brewitt didn't run his race and take him up off the lead. But, you can't crab him. He's done it in style.
Yeah, I couldn't have had that horse whatsoever on my mind. And I backed Ryan's Rocket as well, the Feely Racing colours. And it was Paul O'Brien that was out. And I was like, oh, right, okay. Harry Skelton went off in front. He ain't going to be able to keep this up. Was it up £34 now or something? Something ridiculous.
If Dan Skelton can get him to win a handicap of 115 at Kelso to the Champion Chase, he should be knighted, really, shouldn't he? In the same season. From October to March. It's outstanding.
It reminds me of that. What was it? What was the cow farmer called? The Huntball, yeah. Huntball. Yeah, one of those. Sold to America.
Lottery as well was another one, wasn't it, when it went to Nichols? Right, we'll put there. One other race I've got to talk about is Supreme. Big shake-up. My Daddy Paddy beaten by Idaho Sun. And then, obviously, El Kairos, who just looked a machine before the most bizarre stumble and fall after the last at Leopardstown. What do you think, boys?
I'd potentially back El Kairos now and just pull up bothering worrying about the Supreme. I think he's an absolute weapon. He's going to throw in a few shady jumps, no doubt, but I think that horse is a complete and utter machine. And I think provided he can jump hurdles in a straight line come March, and Jack Kennedy can keep him somewhat under control, because, well, I don't know, actually doesn't need to keep him under control. He travelled into the race nicely. He just had too much speed at the end of the race that he forgot how to jump a hurdle. I think he's a machine.
Joel?
Yeah, it was a bizarre one. I mean, at some point, you've got to bring Dave Maxwell back, haven't you? Because he's watching that and going, right, well-handicapped horse, arguably the best or second best jockey in Ireland, falls off him, and then everyone's having to go at David Maxwell for falling off all of his or giving it a shocker. I was looking for it too out, and I'm looking at the back of the telly, and you just saw him loom up, and we're in here, jumps it fine, and it was a bizarre. It was like one of those really tall footballers just falls over the feet, going too fast. And I was really impressed. It was another one I backed. And if you're moving on to My Daddy Paddy, before the race, and we talked about it, if it's your horse, the dream is alive, yeah? But what's the horse actually beaten now? At Haydock, it's not beating trees, but they're not top-class horses. And it has never been proved, as you would expect from a short price Skelton runner. Harry was getting pelters on, how does he get rides and all this stuff. I don't think he did out wrong. I just think just outclassed and probably going up the ranks a little bit quick.
Gone over an absolute left field Supreme bet if you had a throwaway £2.50.
Say again?
A complete left field throwaway £2.50 each way Supreme bet at this stage would be heads up, because of the champion bumper form is just working out time and time again, despite Bambino Fever getting turned up over at the top of the market. But bar that, there's about 5 or 6 real live contenders as proper novice hurdlers. He was beaten round Cheltenham by no drama this end, but over 2 mile 5 I wonder if and he went off rapid as well, didn't he? And then just got eaten up by the winner. I wonder if they dropped him back to 2 miles, he'd have a squeak. 50s, something like that he is now.
I mean, I know you're saying Alcaraz as a weapon. I honestly think I found my bet for the Supreme over this festive
Really?
period. Yeah.
Cool. Go on then.
You see Mossy Fen Road with it, Chepstow?
Yeah. Jumped
I've
so
never seen a
nicely.
horse jump so electrically as a novice.
Yeah.
He's only
I know.
defeat came in the age bumper. I've not seen a horse get from A to B so quickly. He was getting £4 off the second, beaten by 8 lengths, hard held. That's rated 131. So you're already looking at a high 130s, low 140s performance already.
Yeah.
And it's just the way he jumped. I know it wasn't the strongest race, granted. I'd love to see him up in class, but Harry Derrimas said the Supreme's the ultimate aim. Was he 14, 16 to 1? The way he's going to have a lot of them in trouble, the way he jumps.
Yeah, I can't argue with you. If he does, especially if he does that early doors and gets into a nice rhythm, then then obviously jumpers get found out, don't they?
And I've got one for you as well in the Supreme. We're going 3-way on the Supreme.
This has turned into a race that nobody cares about. Now we're all having a go.
Everybody cares about it now. I had 2 bets after the weekend, and I'm on at 16s. Is Talk the Talk for Baby Joseph. It was unbeaten going in over the Christmas period, and then fell after the last another one, but was going to absolutely tack up. Talk the Talk. So we're getting a nice price there around 16s. So that's our trifecta, our tricast?
Possibly, yeah. Let's get it on now.
No, but the thing is,
I do agree though, Matt. Mossy Fen Road was proper, wasn't he? His jumping was so good. That's pretty much how you jump a hurdle, isn't it?
Yeah, right. We went into Christmas talking about Gordon Elliott and how big of a period it was, and he's come up trumps with some cracking winners. On the other side of the coin is Willie Mullins. All right, he's had a few winners, but surely he's had some races that have got away. I mean, penny for Willie's thoughts over Christmas, Joel?
He had a nice bumper winner yesterday under Jodie Townend. That was it. They normally send the better ones out over Christmas as well, don't they? And it was the Gordon show. But it's a bit like we talk about Venetia time, but on a bigger scale. I think at some point it just clicks, doesn't it? And he is going to come over here, and he is going to, put a dent into Skelton's championship trainer aspirations. And it is just going to click like it always does, because you can't have that much star power, not only in the equine world, but also in the talent that you have as jockeys and the people who ride out. Patrick's pretty much your number 2, but will come over and ride a couple. Danny, there's loads of them there, and it happens, and it does happen. And once they start flying, they will fly. And the good thing about it is, if you're getting in there early, you're getting a price on some of these horses. Yesterday, that normally, I have a rule that I never back any Willie Mullins bumper horses unless they're odds on. Normally, you've got a Willie Mullins, a Gordon Elliott, and then a trainer you never heard of, Seamus O'Leary, for example, and his horse is at 3s. If his horse is at 3s in that race, that's the one you're backing. But going back to Mullins, it'll just fire, and I think he will just, it's just a jump aboard the Mullins train, and these big Saturdays as well over here. He'll just start having, winners with 2nd and 3rd strings.
Yeah, DRF Cheltenham, you think he'll be firing Frankie, won't you?
I think so. Yeah. Interestingly, I just sort of checked in on the Irish Trainers Championship out of curiosity after the last couple of days, and Gordon's obviously on top for cash. Willie's ran about, I think it's like 250 or 300 less horses. Gordon's volume has been actually much higher than Willie's at this stage in the season. I suppose where we're seeing a difference is Willie normally does nick a couple of grade 1s, even if he's not firing, even if he's running slightly less horses. He still goes through this period picking up the big grade 1s, doesn't he? Whereas Gordon's been taking the lion's share of those. So there is a bit of a flip-flop. I don't doubt that there will be a Willie Mullins period, like Joel said, but things haven't happened, I don't think, as they have this time of year in the past. He's had a couple of nice performances though. Kitsborough was brilliant at Kempton. I thought Carjesi was really good over fences. She was obviously beat on her first start over fences, and you might have questioned, was she going to go back over hurdles? But she actually jumped really nicely. She didn't have to beat much, but she jumped really well. And Final Demand at Limerick, where I was yesterday, he only had to jump round. He was 1-4. There was a 4-runner field, but he did it very nicely as well. So there's been some nice performances, but yeah, Gordon's flying, absolutely flying. Horses are running well, and they're winning the right races.
And the one you always forget is Romeo Coolio. There was people going, "Oh, you just got there and whatever." I think it could do with a step up in trip. I think it had a lot of the sleeve there.
What would you do with him? Does Final Demand scare you off if you owned him, or are we getting carried away with him? He didn't actually. I was at Limerick, and it's not a track that's going to flatter a horse that much. And
he's only real contender. Disappointed.
No. So I don't think you're going to be getting super excited after what you see, but it wasn't like I was in awe of him.
All right, Romeo Coolio's your horse. Where do you go for Cheltenham?
Broadway.
Do you know what sticks in my head? Django Bay winning the Arkle last year. I could kind of see him winning it in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, what price is Romeo Coolio for the Arkle? Because that obviously is going to be a big price. But I thought the step up would be.
But then on the flip side, if he travels and he actually does relax, I would be frustrated we hadn't tried him over 3 miles. Is what I'd be thinking going into, because he might have to learn how to race over 3 miles. He might get it wrong the first time he stepped up and trip and do a little bit too much too early, and then next time sort of learn that he's got to relax a bit. So he might need a bit of experience.
5-1 for the Arkle, 7-1 for the Brown Advisory. I mean, you're right. Django Bay, sticking in your mind, but is Lualamba and Copet de Board a little bit quicker than what he faced last year, Madge Bretel?
That's true. That is true. Yeah, Lulamba's slick, isn't he? They're going to jump well. Could get you in trouble, especially if you miss one. Whereas they'll go slower, obviously, in the 3 miler, and could just toot all around, couldn't he? Because it's slightly under his sort of racing threshold. He might do it easily. Yeah, so who knows? They tweeted, didn't they, saying has a novice ever won the Ryanair? The owners tweeted.
Yeah.
So they don't know what they want to do. They know they want to go to Cheltenham. They keep saying that, but they're all trying to make a decision.
Well, it's good. I mean, obviously, you'd have been long odds on for the Turners, wouldn't he? So it's just the fact they got rid of that, making these decisions.
Yeah.
Interesting. Right. We'll park it there. We'll pick up everything else next week because there's still loads to discuss of what we're seeing on the festive period and some cracking racing over New Year still to come as well. So we'll talk about more novices when that comes around. So cheers, boys, for joining us. What a period it has been. The Gold Cup, Champion Chase, Supreme, all had a big shake-up. I know that Champion Hurdle may have one as well. We saw Sugino impressive. We're just recording this before we see Lossymouth in action a little later on today. Right. Cheers, boys. All the best for New Year. A happy and healthy and wealthy New Year to you both and all of our watchers. This is the Road to Cheltenham. Join us next week. As I say, we'll talk about more of those novices that we've seen over the festive period and everything else that's happened as well. And don't forget, join us Friday. Like, subscribe, and join us Friday. We'll try and find you some winners for the weekend. So we'll see you then.